Romney continues to get about 25% of the vote, no matter where he seems to go.
Rick Santorum surges to levels he's never achieved before.
I'm Frank Newport, Gallup editor-in-chief.
And I'm Susan Page, the Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today.
And this is Election Matters. Susan, you're there in Iowa. Surprises?
Man, what a night. Actually, the statewide polling had given us a pretty good picture of what was going to happen, in that we saw the Santorum surge, and we knew that Romney was right at about 25%. But the idea that this is an election decided by 8 people, 8 votes, it was quite an evening.
Overall, Romney held in there about where he's been nationally. That seems to be his norm. He's right at about 25%. And it seems like, Susan, these other people are kind of rotating around him. I mean, we've seen previously Perry and Kaine, Gingrich, and now we've got Paul and Santorum who are up there around Romney. What's the feeling? Is it possible that Santorum or Paul can go the long distance?
Well, I think that most analysts would say it will be hard for Ron Paul to go the distance. He appeals to a wing of the party, a segment of the party, but he has views that are really anathema, really out of step with a lot of Republicans. Now, Rick Santorum, we don't know. He hasn't been the character, the anti-Romney, the Romney alternative in the spotlight before. He's certainly going to be that in New Hampshire and South Carolina. So we'll see whether he can pivot and really build a national campaign. His campaign's been very focused in Iowa, which is the reason I assume that he ended up doing well. And for Romney, once again, his strength is his weakness. His standing doesn't go much below 25%. It doesn't go above 25%. At some point, he's going to have to appeal to a broader group of Republicans.
And you know, Susan, I look back at the data, this would be the month to do it, because John McCain in our national polling never went above 30% until January of 2008. And the same thing for Barack Obama. One poll, national poll, back in the summer of 07, he was at 31%, but after that it wasn't until January that he pulled above 30%. So Romney's not totally out of sync with previous winning candidates, but this month, it's when he's really going to have to consolidate things, again, based on our national polling, based on what he does. Now, expectations are he's going to do well in New Hampshire. After all, he has a home there, and it's next to his state where he lived and worked and was governor, right? He should do well next Tuesday.
Every sign is that New Hampshire is Romney territory. He's been at about 40% in statewide polls. He does, though, have attacks from the right, from Santorum, and from the left. Or from the middle, I guess John Huntsman would say, the former Utah governor, not a factor in Iowa, but campaigning hard in New Hampshire. So that could put a little bit of a squeeze on Romney. But there's certainly no state in which Romney has spent more time, money, effort than in New Hampshire to hold that as his firewall.
Susan, looking at the entrance poll data, that's what they call it in Iowa. They interview people as they go in. It looks like about half said they were voting for a candidate who could beat Barack Obama. And of those, it was Romney who got the lion's share of their vote on a relative basis. So that's a key issue for Romney, I assume, that he's claiming he's the guy who can beat Obama next fall. And that's going to have to be one of his positions if he gets the nomination, right?
Yes, and that is certainly an argument that the Romney team makes, that even if Mitt Romney is not the first choice of some Republican voters, and obviously he's not the first choice of about 75% of Republican voters so far, the idea that they want to defeat Barack Obama is one that will unite the party behind Mitt Romney, they say, if he is the nominee.
You know, Susan, today 47% Barack Obama's job approval rating, just throw that in. So all of a sudden he's getting up there where he's looking a little more formidable. So we shouldn't forget Obama's over there, and ultimately it's he that they're trying to defeat, right?
And, we did see Obama, of course, not challenged for the nomination, for the Democratic nomination. That's a big advantage for him. But the Democrats were out organizing in a serious way in Iowa, and they're doing the same in New Hampshire. They had Democratic last night. I was surprised that Barack Obama won them, but they use those as an organizing opportunity. And they're also being very careful to push back these Republicans out there campaigning all the time. Many attacks on President Obama, and we see the White House, the Obama campaign, the DNC pushing back on all the time. We shouldn't forget that the USA Today Gallup swing states include 3 of these early states, Iowa, New Hampshire, and Florida, all states that we look at big battlegrounds in the fall.
Absolutely. It looks like, from everything we're hearing and feeling, that Bachmann and Perry may be out of the campaign, suspending campaigning, it looks like. Is that what you're hearing there?
Yes, Governor Perry has indicated he's headed back to Texas, and it looks like Michelle Bachmann is doing the same, which means we're seeing what usually happens after Iowa. Iowa doesn't choose a president, it winnows the field. We'll have a smaller field going into New Hampshire.
And by the way, Susan, my colleague Jeff Jones has an analysis that's going up on Gallup.com today showing that the winner in our national polling after New Hampshire usually goes on and wins the nomination. So this next week's crucial. If Romney's way ahead in our national polling after New Hampshire, history would suggest he's probably getting closer to being the nominee.
Well, that'll be an important thing to watch for.
And real quickly before you go, I know you're on your way to New Hampshire, right? What are you going to be looking for when you get up there? Just how strong is Romney's support?
Well, we're going to look at, does Romney hold his support? Can Huntsman make any gains against him? And how does Rick Santorum do in trying to build on his strong standing in last night's caucuses? One more thing, Newt Gingrich also heading to New Hampshire. He is really mad at Mitt Romney for the negative ads, the barrage of negative ads by a super PAC that is supporting Romney. And so he, unlike Rick Perry and Michelle Bachmann, he is not going away quietly. He's going to be there, and you know that Mitt Romney is a guy in his sights. You
know, Susan, we've been looking at our national polling we track every night, Republicans nationally, and Gingrich, although he's down, he's still in second place, you know, in the mid-teens, like 17%. Just looking at the last couple of nights of interviewing, we report a 5-night average. So he's not out of it nationally. Newt Gingrich is still holding on, it looks like, to the sentiments of at least some Republicans. So that'll be fascinating to see how he does. And then he goes south, right, to South Carolina and Florida, where he may have a chance of doing better.
And remember what happened 4 years ago. We had multiple conservative candidates head into South Carolina. Fred Thompson did not drop out to leave a clear field for Mike Huckabee. And as a result, it was John McCain who won the South Carolina primary and then the nomination. There's some conservatives who are a little concerned the same scenario might happen this time, that Mitt Romney will go to South Carolina, so will Newt Gingrich, so will Rick Santorum. And as a result, the more establishment character in that field, Mitt Romney, will end up winning. We'll just have to wait and see.
Absolutely. But both in our national data, Romney does a little less well among intensely religious Protestants. And of course, the entrance poll data last night showed those people, evangelicals, highly religious Republicans, went for Santorum. So Romney has a weakness among the kind of people that may show up in South Carolina. But as you say, we'll wait and see. And Susan, you'll be in New Hampshire, and we'll connect again with you next week from New Hampshire, and you'll tell us what's going on.
Great. Frank, it's great to be with you.
I'm Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.
And I'm Susan Page, the Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today.
And this is Election Matters.